Hi everyone, I'm back again with more word work ideas for you all. This week I want to talk a little bit about vocabulary and how students at Meridian are learning a little bit more deeply about vocabulary than perhaps they have in the past. So one of the great things that teachers are going to teach or have been teaching, depending on what grade they're in, they're going to start learning about morphemes. And morpheme is a big word that means a unit that makes meaning. It could be the whole word, or it could be a word part. And what I mean by that is if it's a whole word, then it's the root of the word. So, for example, foot, right? You can't have much more to that word than the word foot. That is the root of the word. That is a base word. That is it. Like there's not much more to say, right? That the morpheme, the meaning of that depends on how the word foot is used in the sentence. My foot is hurting is different than I measured it and it was 1 foot long. So morpheme, the meaning of the word depends on how it's used in a sentence in some cases because it depends on if it's a homophone or not, which they will also be learning about, and so will you in coming weeks. So you can have a root word. You can also have a unit called a prefix that also has meaning and changes the meaning of the total word. Or you can have a suffix, which also is has its own meaning and is attached to the end of a word to change the meaning of the word. So you can have a root word that has a prefix in front of it. You could have a root word that has a suffix at the end of it. Or you could have a word that has a prefix and a suffix all together. So what are some examples? You might ask. Well, maybe or maybe won't, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So for example, this suffix est is a superlative, and students are going to learn what superlative means. It means that we're making it more of something. We're comparing it to something, but it's more or most. ER added to the end of a word is a suffix that could mean a person who does something. So a teacher is a person who teaches, so that ER means that. Or if it's added to an adjective, it means more of something. So if something is bigger than something else, then it's more big than the other thing you're comparing it to. So my brother is bigger than me, or taller than me, meaning more tall than I am, or more big than I am, right? Same with est, est. If we add this to the end of a word, tallest, that person is the tallest in their class, then they're the most tall. EST has the meaning of most in the English language. In fact, I just had it in front of me, but it comes from the English, it's an English root word, Old English root. And most of our words come from Greek or Latin or Old English or Norse because that's where our language came from, all of those different places. So this superlative means most when we add it to something. Tallest, the most tall. Smallest, the most small, that kind of thing. So all of these little word chunks, morphemes, that change the meaning of words are important for students to know, because when they're reading, especially in the upper grades, they have to be able to figure out, if I see this ending on a word, what does that mean? So in the background, you might see the sour grape. It's a brand new book out by Jory John. If it said the sour est grape, then students need to know that it's the most sour, that's when we add est, that's what that means. So a prefix that they might find or see is sub, meaning below. A subway is a way to go below the street level, right? Sub, meaning below. However, fifth graders are also going to learn that these are also prefixes that also mean below. So they're derivatives of that Latin sub. I believe it's Latin. Let me double check. It is. It means below or under, beneath, or secondary. But guess what? So do all of these. They're all derivatives of that SU. So it could be success or suppose or suggest, right? So they're going to learn that suggest, for example, I just saw that a minute ago. To suggest something means to Um, bring from below. To suggest is to bring up an idea from below. So it's got the SUG. Okay, just means to bring or to carry, and they will learn that. For example, if we used the SUC prefix, suck, they have it with succumb, C-U-M-B. Come means to lie. So if you succumb to something, you lie under, you're giving in, right? Or S-U-P, sup, supplant, to plant below. It usually means to replace. So they're going to be learning all of those things, and it's important for students to be able to learn prefixes, suffixes, and roots so they can figure out all of those parts of words and understand meaning. Now, a common word in math is subtract. What we don't think about is that that's a Latin root with the word sub, or the prefix sub, morpheme sub, added to it. So tract means to pull apart. So if we subtract, you pull below. Pull below. Isn't that funny? All these words that they're going to find out. The other root that I prepped here is culp. If you're culpable, right, then you have heard this word. Culp means guilt. If you're culpable, you're able to have guilt because you did it, right? If you're the culprit, you're the person who is guilty. So that's how they understand where the meanings of words come from, those Greek and Latin root words. And what's nice about the word work that students are doing at Meridian right now is they're getting these ideas in each unit. So in 5th grade, they've already started this work. 4th grade is starting this work. 3rd grade will also be doing this work as they move along because they need to be able to take apart multisyllable words. In fact, that is a Common Core standard for definitely 4th and 5th grade. 3rd grade is kind of the beginnings of that, but by 4th and 5th grade, they have to be able to take apart multisyllable words, and understanding the morpheme chunks, the prefixes and suffixes, will help with that. So as always, if you have questions or want to talk word work, I'm here. Let me know.